1 year ownership review, the 2018 Audi B9 A4. Let's get right into it. So first things first, I know you guys are probably wondering about maintenance. Maintenance is no issue at all whatsoever. Not because I work at Audi. I know I work at Audi, so I'm able to get access to parts, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. I know how to work on a car. But in my honest opinion, unbiased opinion, trust me, it's really, really reliable. As long as you do preventative maintenance, per usual, with every other car. It's the same exact principle, the same thing. The car will last you a long time, and the car will run pretty smoothly for you, and it'll do great by you. I've had zero issues with the car, literally zero issues with the car. I can't even think of something. I got a nail in my tire, that's about it. But other than that, the car has held up really, really well. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of the car. All right, now one pro of owning the 2018 Audi A4 is the performance. Now, a lot of you might disagree, but just hear me out on this one. If you compare it to the cars in its class, say BMW 330i, another Jaguar, or a couple other cars, it keeps up pretty well with them. It keeps up nicely with those other cars, and overall, it performs well. If you're looking for a more sporty drive, you go with the BMW. If you're looking for a more relaxed, comfortable drive, but also really sporty, you get the A4. Or if you want to be different, you get the Jaguar. But I'd say for this car, pushing about 260 horsepower and close to 300 foot-pound of torque, that's really enough if you think about it for a daily driver, and a platform for you to sort of kind of build on like I'm doing. It's just the right amount of horsepower. However, there is times where I wish that I had more horsepower in this car, but for those of you who want more horsepower on this platform, meaning the B9 platform, then you go S4 route. And if you're lucky, you go RS4. But I think it's just the right amount of power and torque for this application, for daily driving, and for spirited driving as well. So, and of course, obviously, there's always aftermarket support. Like such, I have got APR spark plugs and coil packs, as well as a P34 034 Motorsports air intake. And I got my exhaust done. As far as power mods, other than that, it's just suspension, like coilovers, and I got tires and wheels. But there's always more you can do to get the car to go faster. I'll also have a turbo diverter valve delete, or turbo muffler delete. It's the little spacer that goes in between the turbo and one of the air hoses at the bottom. That just increases the turbo noise from the air intake. But yeah, the power is definitely nice. The power band is very smooth. It's linear, and it's very predictable, which makes the car pretty fun to drive, and it's definitely confidence inspiring. So power is definitely a good part of owning this car. While we're still under the hood, I can also talk about the reliability. Reliability is really good. I have no complaints whatsoever about the reliability of the engine. I know the previous 2 liters on the B8 and B8.5 A4s would always need to be retimed. I've done a couple timing jobs on the older A4s. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. Though it is pretty simple, and it's up front. So basically, the front end will have to just come off, put it in service mode, that we can be able to access the camshaft, the crankshaft, and everything to be able to adjust the timing. We gotta take everything off top, but that is a very big job. With the B9 platform, I don't see too many of them getting done. I haven't have to do any at work, and I haven't had any timing issues with my car as well. So these are pretty reliable, again, as long as you do regular maintenance, like oil changes every 3,000 miles. Sometimes I'll go even earlier just because, though it's not necessary, but 3,000 miles is definitely a good way to go as far as oil change intervals. So yeah, oil change, spark plugs, coil packs, change your oil filter. Always check your coolant. Make sure your coolant is good. Make sure you don't have any coolant leaks anywhere. These tend to leak a lot from the hoses. The hoses will get brittle and will crack over time. Thankfully mine hasn't, but I know like this one is prone to crack. These lines are prone to crack, which will leak coolant. down, you'll notice a puddle on your car. Coolant is pink, so it's easy to spot your coolant. But always make sure it isn't low. It should always be at the max line or slightly above max line, just to play it safe. Also too, coolant can leak from the thermostat. I can't really get in there to show you guys, I don't have a flashlight, but the thermostat is down there. Check that. Sometimes the union, if you ever get your thermostat serviced or replaced, the union that connects to what is that, I forget what it's called, but there's a union that connects to this part right here, this little aluminum part that you can see with the lines going down in the middle. Yeah, right there, the union connects to that from the thermostat, and if that leaks, then that's going to be a bit of a pain, because you got to take the throttle body off, you got to take these coolant hoses off and all of that stuff just to get to it to correct the leak. But other than that, yeah, there's pretty much no issues with that. Alternators don't really go bad on this. You might have to change your belt pretty soon or something after you get like past 60,000 miles. I haven't had to change my belt. My belt's pretty cool. It's not in bad shape, but again, regular maintenance, nothing major that requires you guys to do for the car. And though some people find German brands intimidating to work on, trust me when I say A4s or at least 2-liter turbos in Audi's platforms are really easy to work on, depending on what it is, but it's really easy to work on. It isn't a whole lot of room, but some of the stuff is easy to access. It just may be the placement of certain bolts that may be difficult, like the catalytic converter. I would never replace that. I am not changing that. That is staying stock, because that is extremely difficult to get to, but everything else is easy. Okay, and another pro would be the cost of the car. As you guys know, Audis depreciate. Why they depreciate, I don't really know specifically, but I've definitely noticed that Audis depreciate a lot. In fact, they're one of the only brands that depreciate a whole lot. I was looking at a study that showed Audi depreciates at least I think it was like 57% or 67% of the cars after they're sold, they depreciate a lot. So for someone like myself, or someone who can't afford a $70,000 car, it's an easy way to jump into a luxury car with low miles. I got mine for a steal, I'd say. The car is from Canada. It had 34,000 miles. I bought mine for 27,000. That is a steal if you ask me. It's an all-wheel drive car. It looks good. Apple CarPlay, heated seats, good air conditioning. It has I think that's like an 8-inch display. Navigation, LED lights. It's a pretty good package for the price, and for that price range, with any other cars that I would try to look at in that price range, that gives me the same features and it's all-wheel drive, I wouldn't be able to find anything that would meet my needs as much as this A4. So for the price and the stuff that comes with the car, it's perfect. And honestly, if I had 27,000 to spend on a car, currently, would I get another A4? No, but but if I needed a car to get me from A to B, and that was really reliable, that looked good, also had a lot of creature comforts, and was pretty simple, and it was a luxury car, I get an A4. Arguably, some people would try to go for the 330i, but I feel like the A4 would be a better choice. There's plenty BMWs out there. Be different, get an Audi, try to stand out a little bit. And I think this is more so a gentleman's car. It's really nice. I get a lot of compliments for the car, surprisingly. More so than I did with the Mustang, which is funny. But as far as price, it's a really good price. Another good thing about this car would be storage space. So I have a few things in my trunk. It's not too dirty, but just like a little survival kit, backpack or something. Jumper cables, I have a first aid safety kit, I have my cleaning stuff. But it's all held back by a net. You have these little pockets on the sides, and you also have your spare tire and the battery and all this other stuff in there. But it's also really convenient to use. The opening is very large and wide, so as you can see, it's easy to get stuff in and out. The rear seats do fold down, so if you need to put ski equipment and stuff in there, you can easily do so. Let's take a look at the rear seats. Spacious. I got my water bottle on the floor and the backpack back there, but spacious enough. Passengers were to get in the rear if you were going for a long road trip, they wouldn't complain. though this, I will complain about the legroom. I'll actually get in. Actually, no, I don't feel like doing that. But it is very spacious in the rear, so no complaints about that. All right, now, nice. All right, I didn't expect the train to come by here. I didn't even know a train tracks were over there. But let's talk about the cons of the car. One con, I can kind of piggyback on what I talked about earlier as far as power. Sometimes I really do wish that this car had more power, but again, I can't really list that as a con, because if I wanted more power, I can go get an S4. But that would definitely be a con. Another con about this car is that if you are keeping it and you are planning to build it and do a full complete build on the car, you'll have to go all out, and you'll realize how quickly it can become very expensive. And to make the car look different or to stand out from regular A4s, you have to do some pretty drastic changes to the car. Lowering it would definitely be the first step, something that I highly recommend. I put coilovers on mine. I got ECS coilovers on there. They're adjustable, dampening and stiffening the suspension front and rear. Can adjust the height as well. Definitely get a set of tires and wheels, something that is going to stand out. These are 19s, 19 by 9.5. I actually just show you 245 35 ZR19 97W. I got these from Fitment Industries. Shout out to them. Actually, if you want to check out my wheel specs and check out my fitment, you can actually look on Fitment Industries. I'm not sponsored by them, but my car is listed on their website, and it has the specs and stuff and the modifications that I have done to my car. So if you want to check out that, I'll leave you a link in the description below so you can see for yourself. But yeah, I'd say that would definitely be a con, is that in order to make your A4 stand out or to be different, you have to dump a lot of money into the car, especially with performance. Now, just with the tires and wheels, that was like $2,000, which is reasonable. I understand. I spent like $18 for the Mustang for tires and wheels. Coilovers I got them on sale. They were $740 something from ECS. They're usually $1,000 or $1,100. The coil packs and spark plugs, they all together, I think it was $200 or close to $300. The P34 cold air intake that I got for the car from 034 as well was actually $500 for the car. So not too crazy, but I feel like for an air intake, that's definitely overkill. What else? I got my exhaust done. Exhaust systems for this car are easily $2,000 and up. You can get some for $15,000, maybe with a discount. But it's definitely a $2,000 exhaust off the rip as soon as you get the car. But I got mine's custom, so I don't have the ECS or AW exhaust systems. I just have a Resonator Delete 3-inch tip, and I have a muffler delete as well. So all in all, that was about $200 I spent for the exhaust. Pretty much sounds the same, if not sometimes better than the brands that are out there. So looking into aftermarket parts for the car, unless you're looking on some like cheap websites for cosmetic stuff, performance parts, you'll definitely be breaking the bank to get any real performance out of this car. One con about this car is that the chrome trim, if you have the chrome trim, I don't have the sport package. Sport package will allow this to be blacked out, as well as the grille and also other pieces on the car. But if you have the chrome trim, over time you'll get this like oh, my door is open. Oh no, it wasn't open. It looked like it was open. That gap was kind of big, but you'll get this like wear and tear on the chrome trim all around. Now when I bought the car, it had this on there, and I didn't pay too much attention to it because I thought that it was something that just needed to be washed off. I thought it was just dirty. However, after the first week with the car and after giving the car a full detail, I noticed that this was not coming off, and in fact you can't even really feel a difference. You can barely feel a difference in the chrome trim where it's messed up at. It's just dirt on my finger, but you can't feel a difference at all. So I gotta figure out how to get that out or take it to my detail guy, see if he can get that refinished for me, or I might even just wrap it black, but I don't know. It kind of matches with the wheels. But the chrome trim will wear over time, and I'm pretty sure there's some solution for it, but honestly right now I don't really know. So that's something to look out for. I'm just picking here. It's not really much to to talk bad about the car. There's no like real serious cons about the car, other than cosmetics and stuff that I mentioned before. And one last con I'd say about the car is the fact that not only is aftermarket prices for parts expensive, but just regular maintenance. If you were to go to an Audi dealer and get front brakes, just to get front brakes for my car, just the hardware, pads and rotors, just for the fronts, was $718. I'm not used to that. Other cars I had, I spent $200 or less just to do front brakes. But for the Audi, it's $718 just for front brakes and rotors from an Audi dealership, which is crazy. So I went to ECS and got an aftermarket pair of performance rotors and brakes, and I got those for, I think it was $383 or close to $400. So not too bad, but it's definitely better than $718. So the rear brakes are still stock. I didn't change those yet because of the price. But parts definitely do add up and get expensive over time. But again, it's an Audi, it's a luxury car. Again, that is expected. So if you're getting into this platform, know that you do have to spend a pretty penny in order to acquire certain parts and aftermarket parts for your car. But other than that, there's not really many pros. I mean, not really many cons, sorry, to this car. Kind of rambling here, just thinking of stuff off the top of my head, but there's really nothing that I could think about that's really bad about this car. Depending on where you live at, I'll say that may have rust, may not have rust. I don't really have a whole lot of rust. The car's from Canada, like I mentioned. The rear toe and camber bolts are rusted, so I gotta replace those. But other than that, there's no like crazy rust on the car. So yeah, guys, I really can't tell you what's really bad about this car, because honestly, I don't think there is anything bad. For many, it would mostly just be the fact of the fact that there's a lack of a lot of power. But again, S4, RS4, S5, RS5. So if you go on A4 and you want power, don't get an A4, get an S4. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now we can talk about the cost of ownership. So I got this car when I was 21 years old. I'm now 22. I like how I had to think about that. But I'm now 22 years old and I live in Philly. So the insurance was ridiculous when I first got the car, and everything is in my name. It's not under my mom's name or anything. I own the car. So I got the car for $27,000 and some change. Insurance was, I have Allstate. It was $860 for like the first 2 months, and then it dropped down to $450. So insurance is $450 a month. The car payment is $458 a month. So almost $900 a month, or 900 and some change a month for the car. When you think about it, I could definitely be in something else for that price, which is faster, perhaps more reliable, more fun, and looks better. But my insurance did drop down to I think it's $380. So that's not that bad. It's like $458 and $380. That's probably like $806 or something, $810 a month for the car. I'm not good at math. But I'm kind of close. I think it is like 8 something. It's like 810 or something. I don't know, 806, 804 a month for the car, which isn't too bad. I can afford it, so it's no problem. But also too, considering what I'm paying for the car, I'd rather be paying that for something else. Literally, like Audi has a deal with the e-tron and GTs where it's $450. I think it's $2,500 down for a lease. It's $2,500 down and it's $450 a month. So I could literally, or essentially, be in an Audi e-tron GT, which is a $100,000 car, instead of driving the A4. So I pay more for the A4 than what I would if I drove an Audi e-tron GT, which is crazy. But I guess it's what comes with the territory. So I'm learning. But it's affordable for me. Again, it depends on your job and your saving skills and stuff like that, and how you are with your money. now that we're inside the car, guess I want to give you guys a little POV shot or view of what it's like driving the car. Yeah, almost forget what I was gonna talk about. I'm so busy listening to the car. It gurgles and pops after this new exhaust install. I'll give you guys a downshift. Miles per gallon, that's what I should have mentioned. I get pretty decent miles per gallon. Let's slap this into comfort. I just filled up not too long ago. My long-term memory is 20 miles per gallon, 20.1 miles per gallon, which isn't bad. But I will be honest, so I'll give a disclaimer. Usually I average around 18 miles per gallon. Unless I do a lot of highway driving, that's when I'm 22 miles per gallon. But on average, I'd say that I get 18.5, 18.7 miles per gallon. That's usually what it is. It's only when I'm on the highway or roads like this where I get to stay in the low 20s. So it's not bad on gas at all. It beats having a V8 as far as gas mileage, but as we all know, I much rather prefer a V8. That pretty much sums up the video, guys. I guess I can talk about, well, yeah, one last thing I can talk about is the fact that I'm not keeping the car. So I know that's, it may be a surprise after all the good things I just said about the car. I don't plan on keeping it because, as you might have picked up during this video, I've mentioned Mustang quite a lot. I really do miss my old 2-valve Mustang GT. As you guys know, I daily drove that, and then I brought this so that way I can be able to build the 2-valve. I ended up selling it, and now I'm stuck with this car, and I don't want this car. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with the car. With that being said, there's nothing wrong with the A4 at all. I can afford it. It's cool. It's fun. It's just not my style, and I feel like that's why I started building the E4s, because the lack of the Mustang. So I'm gonna trade this in for another Mustang. Which Mustang I do not know specifically, but since this car is valued at whatever it's valued at, once I hit positive equity, I'm thinking about trading this in for either a Mach 1, 2004 Mach 1, or getting a 05 to 09 GT or a Shelby. We'll see. If not, then a 2013, 2014 Mustang GT. But those are the cars you guys can keep an eye out for over on this channel, because one of those will be in the garage next. So thanks for watching Darrell's Garage. I appreciate all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.